Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on Sports Illustrated and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. And we are excited today, our final game day of the year. And I got to tell you, it seems like just yesterday, Matt and I were like, man, I can't wait for the draft to get here. Then it's, I can't wait for OTAs and minicamp. Then it was, man, I just can't wait to get to Costa Mesa and the start of training camp. And the season is so long, and it is so consuming for writers like us that cover the NFL. For those 6 months, it's so intense. Now you look back, and I was talking to I don't remember if it was Vic Tafer or Vinny Bonsignore. I was talking to one of them in the media room yesterday, and talking about, man, it just seems like yesterday the season started, and even though it was a long season, it's bam, it's over, heading into the off season, which is not going to be quiet for the Raiders. Matt, it's hard to believe we're literally at the final regular season week, brother.
We are here, and I know we each got our hoodies. We both got our hoodies on. We're ready to go. We're bundled up for January, bundled up for the playoffs. It's a grind, and it takes a long time, like you said, the season. But at the same time, it goes so fast. It's like the blink of an eye. Snap your fingers, and you're already here, and you're getting to the playoffs for 14 lucky teams, and the offseason for the other 18.
Tom Izzo used to always joke with me that he loved when basketball practice was over and it was still light outside. He said, because that meant we're in the spring. We're still playing late in March in Michigan because it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
You get out of, it's dark at 4:30, 5 o'clock. And he goes, and when you're out of practice and the sun's up, you're still playing now meaningful games. I guess in football, it's legit. When I live in Vegas and I'm working in Vegas and I'm wearing a hoodie, it's coming to the end of a football season, brother.
Without question. And, I'm excited for the playoffs first and foremost. I think there's going to be some tremendous matchups.
Phenomenal.
And I think we could get, obviously we got to touch on, the offseason is important for the Raiders. The offseason is important for teams like the Giants or the Jets out in New York and the ones that missed the playoffs. But, this postseason has a chance to be special.
I agree with you. And I'll tell you what I think is really interesting to me, Matt. I think the college football playoffs have been amazing. I don't want to be lectured by Kirk Herbstreit, who I like and respect, but I don't want to be lectured by him. I think they got it right. You're seeing a lot of different teams get in there. I've been enjoying the playoffs, even the blowouts. I've been enjoying it. And when you knew there were going to be blowouts when you go to 12 teams, so just stop. And clearly, can we now put to rest? Well, there were 3 or 4 more SEC teams better than the others. Just shut up. Just shut up. Do it and keep it the way it is. But this isn't a college football podcast. It's about the Raiders. So let's get started. Brock Bowers. He's got a chance today against the Bolts to do an incredible thing. It's never been done before. Now, in the interest of fairness, and by the way, I love Brock. Great kid. Just a great kid. I love the kid. But in fairness, he's breaking Ditka's record with a lot more games. He's breaking, there's more games now. So you're going to see more records fall. But it's still a record. It's still a chance to be broken. Talk about a big thing Bowers has a chance to do today.
Well, I think that obviously you're talking about a record that stood for 60 years or so. It's just a tremendous accomplishment as a rookie. I think I said this before on the show in the past. I don't think he'll win Rookie of the Year. I think it's going to go to a quarterback, and I think it's going to go to
Jaden Daniels,
who's been phenomenal in his own right, just been unbelievable and is a worthy recipient. But I think if you were to just strictly go by maybe the most impressive rookie performance, the guy who's been the best at his job relative to his peers throughout the entire NFL, I think you have a great case. It probably would be Brock Bowers. He's been everything the Raiders hoped they got. He's a building block for the future. He looks like a guy, from everything I've seen and read and heard, that he's somebody who not just is a great player, but culture-wise, he's a great fit and
phenomenal kid, man.
Something that you want on your team as you're trying to rebuild and build up for the future. So I think it'll be great for him to get this record today. And again, like you said, all these records were broken with different schedules. O.J. Simpson got 2,000 yards for the first time in 14 games. Eric Dickerson set the single season record in 16. If Saquon Barkley's going to sit out today, but if he was playing and beat Dickerson's record, he would have done it probably in less carries, but in 17 games. So this is just, the reality when the NFL has continued to expand the schedule and is going to do it again in the future. We're going to get to 18, like we've always said. These records are going to fall.
Agree. All right, I'm going to ask you your opinion. I'm not going to give one for reasons I won't disclose. I'm just asking you, if AP wins today, do you think he should keep his job with the Raiders?
No, not because he should be fired, but because I don't think this game matters when you're evaluating a head coach. And I think that goes for anybody, around the league. I think it's got to be the holistic thing. It's got to be the entire package. You have to say, okay, well, now listen, if he wins today, you can say, well, we had a bit long losing streak. He kept it together. They won the last 3 games. That's definitely a feather in his cap, something to look at when you consider. But I think you also have to consider everything when you're making a decision like that. How did we get to the point where we were 2-12? Was it, what did he do wrong as a coach? What could he do better? Is it possible he can improve there? What is his plan for the future? What's the foundation like? Do we think we could improve on the if we went in the open market and looked at coaches? I think that's the same thing you could say with some other teams too. I think, I know it's maybe annoying some people. I keep bringing it back to the New York teams, but that's what I know best from being out here. The Giants won last week unexpectedly. They might win today because the Eagles are sitting guys. If they finish on a 2-game winning streak after starting 2-13, I don't think that means Brian Daboll should keep his job. If he keeps his job, it's because the front office believes in what he's selling them in terms of what he can do in the future. So I think, should this game today be the be-all and end-all, win, it means he definitely keeps his job? No, but that doesn't mean he should be fired. I think it has to be a holistic approach, like I said.
So, wait, talking to NFL people, there is, I don't know that optimism is the word because I don't think they care, but there's more sentiment leaning towards Daboll may keep his job. As soon as I heard that, I thought, oh, I'm not gonna text Matt. I'm gonna tell him that on air because I want to watch you vomit.
No, it's fascinating because to me, and without going too far into it, I think it's time for them to clean house with both guys. But I think the worst thing to do would be to fire Daboll and keep Joe Shane. I think you have to either suck it up with both of them or clean house. You can't split the baby. The Giants have done that too many times in the last decade or so, and it's never worked. And it doesn't work around the NFL. The Bears did it, and it didn't work. The Jets have done it, and it didn't work. It never works to split the baby like that.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a fascinating question. I was told by several people that there are teams that will line up to hire Mike McCarthy if he's fired from the Cowboys. And I'm talking about NFL people. At the NFL owners meeting, I had an owners a person there representing a team say to me, he goes, the guy had 3 seasons with 12 wins on a team that Jerry Jones dysfunctionally runs. Mm-hmm. This season was not his fault. He goes, that's a good coach. He goes, you put his record up against Sean Payton and they're the same guy. He said, that guy will not even hesitate. And I said to this guy, you don't need a coach, but if you did, he goes, I'd hire Mike McCarthy right now. Are you shocked? I'm not shocked by that. I just think because the Cowboys get so much attention thanks to ESPN, that the narrative is that McCarthy's a buffoon, but the reality is he's not, and he's highly respected in this league. I'd love your thoughts on McCarthy.
Sure. I think that it's really fascinating to me how the narrative or the winds have kind of shifted for him the last couple of months, because you look about midway through this season and it was basically foregone conclusion he was getting fired. People were talking about the Cowboys are going to move on. Are they going to hire Belichick? Are they going to hire whomever? And all of a sudden, they win a game, and they, some of these guys, Dak Prescott or Micah Parsons or some other players kind of go to bat for McCarthy. They win another game or two, and they just kind of didn't really make a run at the playoffs, but just kind of kept things together and played better, and the thing stabilized. And I think that that's what Mike McCarthy offers you for the most part, is stability amid the chaos in Dallas. And I also think that when you look at the coaching market, there might not be that home run swing to take for the Cowboys if there's a Bill Belichick out there. Now, yeah, Mike Vrabel is available, but they could go after him. But do they want to do that? The other thing, and I thought this was interesting, Ian Rappaport reported on it during the week, is that McCarthy's contract runs through January 14th, which gives the Cowboys some extra time to either negotiate a new deal or then let him test the market. So that extra time does it make kind of complicates things, because what team's willing to wait around to find out what happens. But I think it's
you and I both know.
Mhm.
No team will be sitting around waiting. The deal will be negotiated. Come on. You and I both know that. Let's not lie to the fans. You and I both know. Oh yeah, he can't negotiate till the 14th. Great. So at 12:01 on the 14th, he
Right.
inks a deal with Carolina. I mean, come on.
Right, I know, but it's just another thing that a team would have to go through, is kind of going through all those back channels while he's still under contract, as opposed to him just being on the open market on Black Monday if they let him go.
I agree with you.
But I think he's staying. I think he's going to stay, and I think that he's kind of earned a little bit of a reprieve with the way that the last couple of months have gone.
Let's talk about Gruden. I've been saying this a lot because I've been hearing it all year. He's going to get another shot in the NFL. I don't know that it's going to come in this cycle. I think there are a lot of teams intrigued of him, but there are a lot of people concerned about the heavy hand of the commissioner, which is ridiculous to me. The commissioner works for the owners. So let me just say this, it's ridiculous to me, but he's a good football coach. He's going to get another shot. I know for a fact teams are interested right now because I just know for a fact. And so, does Gruden get a job this cycle?
I lean towards no, but the fact that he's being brought up so much recently, and it started kind of right before the new year. You first started hearing the whispers, so reporters are setting the table for him to be a candidate. I think he is going to get another chance eventually, like you said. And the interesting thing is, like you said, it's not even, when you look at the email scandal, which is why he had to resign in Vegas. Some of the derogatory stuff that was in those emails was directed at Roger Goodell. So that's where this gets really interesting, because of the
And
fact
his
that
case is still active.
his case is still active. Now, he's not the only candidate who has had a loss against the NFL. Brian Flores, who's expected to be a candidate again this cycle, perhaps sued the league as well. But his case is still active. He's made an enemy of the commissioner, and it would really be interesting. I think he could, like you said, I think he definitely could still coach. I would be very wary of giving him personnel control like he had with the Raiders. But I think he could still be a pretty damn good football coach.
I agree. All right, I want to talk to you about Mike Vrabel. So back in September, I was the first to report if the Raiders moved on that Vrabel is the guy. And so if they move on from AP, do you like the idea of Vrabel in the desert? Now, I think there are some other jobs that are going to take swings at him and say, look, we have a better quarterback situation right now. But what do you think of Vrabel? Do you think he would be a good fit with Las Vegas?
I think that Vrabel would be an excellent fit for the Raiders and any of the teams in this cycle that have had long-standing issues with building a consistent winner and having, that type of culture instilled. So that's the Raiders, that's the Bears, that's the Jets, that's the Giants if they open up. I think there's a couple others I'm sure in there that I'm missing, if depending on who gets fired. But I think that Mike Vrabel would be an excellent fit for the Raiders, not just because of his connections with Tom Brady and Richard Seymour from the New England days, but because of he's a guy who he's won in the NFL before. He knows what it takes. He has a vision for what he wants his teams to be like. He wants to be physical. He wants to defend. He wants to run the football. He wants to kind of impose his will on you. And I think that all that stuff is a great foundation when you're taking over a program, a team that's lost for a while, like Vegas, like Chicago, like the Jets. So I think that, he would be an excellent fit there potentially.
So as you know now, I've begun this week. Well, I started last week. I started last week accumulating information on the draft and doing my own work and watching stuff. And I don't think there's any doubt Shedeur Sanders is going to be the number one quarterback taken. I don't have any doubt about that one. I think there is a world of doubt that this guy is not a dude. He is a developmental guy, could be really good, could be outstanding. But there are a lot of question marks that he's got a long time to answer. He's got the combine and all of that, the interviews and all of it. So I don't mean this. I've told you before, I don't have any issues with his character. So it's just football stuff. And he's very talented. But there isn't a Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck can't miss in this draft. Tell me, will your Giants take Shedeur?
They're gonna have to trade up to get him, I think, because I don't think
I know
they're not.
But I don't see him going to the Patriots.
No, but my thing is I don't know if the Giants are gonna have the stomach to make the deal it's gonna take to get up to one, especially if they win today. Because, and again, I think that's possible because the Eagles are resting players, and I think the Giants are gonna try to play at full strength for the whole game. It all depends also on is Joe Shane and Brian Dable back, because they might be more desperate to get a quarterback and try to save their regime than if they get cleaned house and a new group was coming in and saying, okay, we'll take a stopgap guy for a year and try to find our guy in 2026 or whenever. So I mean, I could see them, depending on the package, depending on what their evaluations are, and they've certainly spent an extensive time evaluating Shedeur Sanders this season. Cam Ward as well in Miami, but they've been really present at Colorado practices and games.
I'm going to tell you, though, at the owners' meeting, I just kept hearing the Giants are not Shedeur fans. They are Cam Ward fans. It's going to be interesting if they pick Shedeur.
This is, to me, and here's the thing with that. Again, I'm just going by what I see on TV or what I read from, guys I respect and hear from guys I respect. I'm not sitting down with the all 22. I'm just full disclosure. I would prefer Cam Ward because I think Cam Ward, while he's raw and not ready to be the guy day one, has a little bit more of the tools you want to see in the NFL. I'm a little concerned by Shedeur not being the best athlete, doesn't have the strongest arm, and he has a tendency to hold on to the ball a lot behind that offensive line at Colorado and try to make plays, that could be, you could coach some of that out of him. I think there's tools there where he could be a good pro quarterback. But I kind of think I would go for the higher ceiling guy in Cam Ward. But again, the Giants, no matter who's making that pick, if they're not in a position to get the guy, offhand, they're going to have to make a pretty big trade up to do it.
Next week, I'm going to reveal a name. But I've been talking to several NFL people, and there is one guy that I ask him 5 years from now, who could be the sleeper of this draft? Next week, I'll tell you who it is. I think you'll be fascinated, and the reasoning will be really, really good. Matt, Happy New Year to you. Wish you nothing but the best, my brother. Tell everybody where to find you on X, please.
Happy New Year to you and the fam, too. Happy New Year, Raider Nation. You can find me on social media, X, Twitter, at Matt Hladik 919, MattHladik 919, and I'm always on there talking ball.
Thanks, brother.
My pleasure.